This is The Real Story. Here we are in Washington, D.C., and with us we have a great man. And I met his son, and I made sure his son realized that his father was a great man. And that was, we have Mr. Joe Bannister. Joe, thank you for coming. Could you tell the people, in this case the viewers of Sharon, which is a community outside of Boston, what brought you here?
Well, from 93 through 99, I was a special agent with the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, and was listening to a talk radio show one day, and the guest was talking about the income tax and the fact that there was that there were a bit of a problem with it and the way it was administered. And so I started to investigate that claim that there was a problem with the income tax, and after about 2 years of part-time research concluded that she was right and that I couldn't continue in that job any longer, knowing what I knew. So I confronted my supervisors in the IRS. I showed them the evidence that I had accumulated and validated, and they didn't want to hear it. They said they weren't going to answer any of my questions, they weren't going to address any of my concerns, and they invited me to resign. So realizing that I burned a bridge or two, I thought that it might be better to resign while I still had my good reputation intact at the IRS, because typically they will try to smear a good reputation so that no one will believe you. So I basically resigned. I resigned on February 25th, 1999. So it's been nearly 10 years. And you know, my activism really just consists of going to events like this when I'm invited and telling my story. So it's not real complex.
Still, it's pretty wonderful. And the reason I think it's wonderful, I'm going to make certain that my children actually get to see this, because I want them to see what a real man is and what a real man does. It's hard to believe nowadays that, you know, in this audience maybe we have pretty much an aware audience, but as you go outside the realm and you get into the mass media, most people have no concept and won't probably take the time to find out what is constitutional and what is not, and what is right and what is wrong. And many people get used to just cheating a little or just getting, you know, and first of all, I've got to shake your hand, because there are a few times I meet men who can look in the mirror and I know that they're good men and they know it also.
Nice of you to say, but I think the problem is I didn't think that what I did, speaking up, asking questions, was really that rare or unusual. But unfortunately, after nearly 10 years since I've done it, there haven't been a whole lot, hardly any, that have followed me out the door. So that's what's kind of a shame. Like I say, what I did, I think, is what most people, nearly everyone, should be able to do. Look at the facts, make a judgment, and then act upon it. And it's just sad that that's more rare than I thought.
Now, if I could, your thoughts on Ron Paul, since we're at a Ron Paul rally march.
Well, I'm very enthused about Mr. Paul, Dr. Paul, I should say. I've actually had the opportunity to appear with him in various venues. He's just a great man, and it's wonderful to have a candidate that's reached the level of, you know, a mainstream presidential candidate who thinks like we think. And when I say we, it should be like we the people, not just our agenda or our faction, but Americans who just know what the Constitution says and wants their government to follow it. It's a pretty simple message.
Have you, by any chance, had an opportunity to read G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island?
I did. In fact, that was one of the first books that I read in my enlightenment process. And it was very, very instrumental in painting a big picture for me about how everything works. And I also discovered at that point that the Income Tax and the Federal Reserve Act came into being at the same time, 1913. Not a coincidence.
Well, and the other thing is, when you find out that it was Nelson Aldrich who brought the bill forth, or brought the legislation forth, and then we remember that banker. His name was, that's right, Nelson Rockefeller. I guess his middle name being Aldrich. Interesting thoughts. But first off, once again, I want to thank you for being out here. I want to thank you, and my viewers, if you would, please find out. Do you have a radio show and stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe they can, they can learn a little themselves.
My website is freedomabovefortune.com, and my radio show is on WTPRN.com, We the People Radio Network, WTPRN.com. It runs every Saturday from 12 to 2 Central Time, and it's archived within a few hours after each show. So, if people aren't, if they're busy doing other things on a Saturday, they can listen to it any time of the day or night.
Excellent. Is it downloadable as maybe an MP3 or whatever for these people?
Absolutely, yes.
Fantastic. Because I know, a lot of my listeners out there, they probably, like I say, if they're busy CD at that time. They can always download it and listen to it. What an outstanding thing. I want to thank your son Ryan, too, who was the man and took good care of us and gave us time and space.
Okay, yeah, right.
For coming to Washington.
I love my family, and that's a big part of my motivation. I've caused my family some heartache because of the stand, but yeah, haven't we all? So I'm just I love my family. I'm happy that they're with me, and they motivate me a great deal.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good man.